Well, hello, General Hospital Daily Recap fans. Today's daily recap is for Thursday, July the 18th, 2024. Thursday, July the 18th. Today was a okay day. A lot of conversations. We have Jason and Carly meeting on the bridge, which was quite fitting. And, they were drinking beer. Looked like Carly did a little product placement, even though I don't think that was, I didn't even try to enlarge it to say, hey, is that a real beer or label, you know? Um, but just talking about, now that it's over, and I'm thinking you guys are premature with that, kind of like Jason, what are you gonna do? What are you gonna what's the next step in your life? And Jason is saying, you know what, I really don't know. He says, but what is on the list is he is going to spend some time this summer with his sons. With Jake, he said, because Jake is going away, and with Danny. Look, as much as Sam will let you. But see, this is how Sam is. She finds out that Elizabeth is allowing Jason to spend time with Jake. Oh, she's gonna push Danny because she doesn't want Elizabeth's son, Jason's firstborn, to have more time than Danny. That's just Sam, right? So, they just talked and I kind of fast forward. And I love Jason and Carly, but I fast forwarded. I don't have time. So we have Sunny called Brooklyn over and she saw Natalia and she goes, Uncle Sonny, I thought this was going to be a visit with just me and you. And he says, "Oh no, I got something to discuss. We got something to discuss with you." And Natalia says, and Brooklyn says, "Listen, I'm here for my Uncle Sonny, okay, not you." She said, "And I figured I'm here because we have to figure out and strategize on how we can save Blaze's career. So let's get down to business." And Natalia just looks at her. And Sunny, Brooklyn sits down. She goes, "Okay, so what I'm feeling is, we need to, try to counteract that negative publicity that you caused." She would kind of rip Natalia, but not too bad, right? And Natalia's just standing there or sitting there. And Sunny says, "Well, listen, Brooklyn, this is why we called you here." And Natalia says, "Blaze is going to be putting out music on her own on an independent label, an independent." And Brooklyn said, "What independent?" Because first they were like, we could try to sue her other record company for dropping her. But Scott Baldwin was saying that, bottom line, that would be something we're not going to win. Right. So that's when then Natalia jumped in and says her own independent label. She goes, "What label would that be?" And Natalia's all grins. And she goes, "Sonny's gonna fund it." And Brooklyn looked at him. He goes, "Yeah, the old L, wait a minute, Brenda and Lois, or LMB." And my thing is, if he's funding it, name it something else, because Lois and Brenda aren't there. Brooklyn is there. She could be the B, right? N and B, but no, I don't know, but they are going to keep. And I think Sonny still has LMB because remember, he let somebody go in and record. And for the life of me, I can't remember who that was. If you all in Comment Corner can remember, Sonny set up a recording session at the record company for someone. And I can't remember who it is. So anyway, if anybody can remember, let me know. Okay. But anyway, and Natalia says, "So here's my plan." And then Sonny says, "Yes, with one condition, Brooklyn, that you run the label." And she looked at him. Oh. And Natalia says, "So see, here's what I'm thinking. We're gonna," and Brooklyn says, wait. So let's get one thing straight. And she looks at Sonny. If I don't want to, no, wait. Natalia says, so do we have a deal? Let's get started. And that's when Brooklyn looked at Sonny and says, let me get one thing, because not necessarily, no. And Natalia looks at him and Sonny looks at her, and she goes, so Uncle Sonny, what you're saying is if I don't agree to run the label, this is not going to happen, right? He goes, that's right. The condition is that you run the label. So she says, okay. And she looked at Natalia. She says, here are my terms. And Natalia looked at her. She goes, you have made all the decisions for Blaze's career. You've decided where she was going to play. You decided. She goes, you've made every decision. She goes, Blaze is going to make her own decisions now. From the venue she plays at to the music she puts out there. And Natalia looks at her and she goes, and you are not to speak to the press. You are not to do any interviews. Anything you draft up to put out there, I will have to approve it first. And Natalia looked at her and she goes, well, wait a minute. No, I have been Blaze's manager successfully for her career. The only thing that I really, no, for her career. And Brooklyn says, and look at the career now. And Natalia looked at her. She goes, well, listen, this is what I'm going to tell you why I have a problem with just giving over, all autonomy to somebody else of my daughter's career. We trusted that link, and I had no idea he was doing that to my Blaze. I said I would never allow somebody else to make those decisions. And she looked at Brooklyn. She goes, but I do see your point. And you also have been representing Blaze, so you do have her best interest at heart, and as of late, I have caused some damage. So I agree to your terms. No, she tried to, but I feel, and Brooklyn says, these terms are absolutely non-negotiable, period. And Natalia looked at her, and Sonny was kind of sitting back proud because he sees that quarter vein in her, and he also sees the way she is. That's how Lois was with running the company. No nonsense, right? So Sonny knows, look, because this is my money, my millions I'm investing. I know Brooklyn. He doesn't know Natalia, right? Because even before he said yes to Natalia in yesterday's episode, he said, yeah, you made a mess of things with the words that came out of your mouth. Yeah, good. So she goes, well, and Brooklyn says, now, what does Blaze have to say about this? And she goes, well, first we wanted to see, if this was going to be a deal. Now I can go talk to Allie and see if she's on board. If she is on board, then we've got a deal. So Sonny breaks out a little celebratory, whatever, hard drink. And he says, okay, now I'm going to leave that label to you two ladies because I have to spend my time taking care of Ava Jerome, making sure she gets everything that's coming to her. And Natalia's like, here. And Brooklyn is just looking at him like, oh, that could be trouble. Oh, please don't kill it. You know what I mean? It's like that couldn't, Natalia doesn't know the depth of what Sonny will do, but Brooklyn does, right? So she's just looking like, oh, Uncle Sonny, So that was them. And then we have Tracy. I'm liking Tracy. Tracy comes in her little casual clothes, her hair down. That is her actual long hair. Sometimes you think, okay, we've got all this gray and then it's brown on the ends, but you know what? We don't know for how many years she actually was dyeing her hair, right? She just decided to actually go gray. Well, not right now because you can see how long it is, but that's why we got the tips, and she still wants long hair. So she's letting that grow out. But anyway, she's talking to Cody, and she was saying she couldn't sleep. And they were just talking, and she ended up saying somehow that they're friends, talking friend with a friend. And she was just saying, one of them sleepless nights. Right now, she has no enemies. Nobody she could plot and make lists on how she gonna get them in the next morning, execute. And so she said, "What's going on with you? What's on your mind? It seemed like something's happening, right?" And he said, "Well, remember that situation where I said my father doesn't know that I'm his son, or somebody doesn't know that I'm his son?" She goes, "Well, I'm taking it by what you're saying. He knows now." He goes, "Yeah, he does." And she goes, "If you don't mind me asking, who's your father?" And he said, "Mac Scorpio." And she looked like, "Oh, wow, you don't say," So they were, tit for tat having their conversation. And trust me, I fast forwarded a lot of that too. But she ended up telling him, look, and he was saying his first instinct in his life, when something like this happens, it gets a little uncomfortable, to just run, to leave, to move to a whole nother town. So Tracy says, let me tell you something. And he goes, "But Sasha and Maxie made me promise that I wouldn't." But he's just sitting back, but And she goes, "Well, you know what? As your employer, there is, you leave, there's no severance pay, health insurance cut off, reference. Oh, you won't have a reference from me. The only way you're going to get those things is if you give me at least 30 days notice. So if you want to leave, but you give me 30 days." And he goes, "Understood." So I thought, okay, good, Tracy, because you have 30 days to get him to change his mind. There, Christina and Blaze goes to Nina, and Nina apologizes again for what happened. She even brings DeWitt down and makes DeWitt grovel. He did a horrible grovel until the end. It seemed more sincere. Christina looked at him. She goes, "Well, I don't accept your apology because we are people. And what you did a lot of damage." And he paused and he says, "I haven't had this job." He goes, "I hadn't had that job." Or no, "I haven't had this job for very long," because he's still new. He says, "And I was just thinking of making this huge splash to make a big impression, on this new job." He goes, "I did not think about the fallout. And I apologize for that." He says, "In the future, on all stories, I will look further before we print anything." And he says, "And if you all want to come out on the record with anything, please feel free to come to me." And Christina looked at him, and Nina says, "Okay, that'll be all." Goodness, you could go, get out. And if Nina can get somebody that she could put under the heel of that stiletto and just turn her heel into their hide, she will. She loves it. But I'm loving the way she's handling him. Nina's kind of turning okay to me. Yeah, oops, yeah, I said it. She's kind of turning okay to me. So she tells Christine, because you know why, everybody? They're not writing every other word coming out of her mouth. Carly this, Carly, Michael, but Carly, see? They took Nell's dialogue and put it on Nina's character, and I didn't like that. So anyway, she says, "Look, you two came in to talk to me for a reason. I turned this into my agenda with DeWitt. What did you two come to see me about? And so Blaze says, well, actually, your editor touched on it at the end. And Christina said, Blaze and I want to do an interview to kind of tell our side of the story or kind of set the record straight. And we're coming to you because you know media. We do not want to make a mistake in what we say and how we say it. We need you to coach us, to help us go in the right direction. And Nina looked, she goes, I could definitely do that. Absolutely. She says, look, we can start tomorrow with your training. And, absolutely. She kind of saw a look on their face, not like disappointment. They were happy. She goes, or you know what? I could order us some coffee and some tea. And we could stay and start your training tonight if you like. And Christina looked at her and she goes, thank you. And I thought, see, I like that scene with Nina. I really did. So that was pretty cool. Last but not least, Dex's 5 o'clock shadow coming out. I could see the difference. Everybody, you were right. Usually he's got some stuff. He had some stubble today, so he looked a little older than yesterday, right? So he and Chase just minor chit chat. Fast forwarded almost all of that. Chase was talking about Gregory, and in the end, Dex says, I wish I had he almost said father, family. He changed it to family that would have ever encouraged me on anything. And so Chase kind of asked him about it, and Dex says, no, they're just opposite of what your experience is. And I thought, okay, wait a minute. Dex is starting to mention family. Are we going to finally write some kind of storyline with Dex and his family? So that might be what's going to happen. That might be what's going to go on. All right, everybody, that's it. Nothing else happened. No Comic Corner today. I am going out of town, everybody, tomorrow, Friday. I will not be returning until Monday. So I'm going to get in for sure and do Friday's episode. I'll record that on Monday, the 22nd. Hopefully, then by Tuesday, I'll get caught up. I'll do 2 of them on Tuesday, 2 GHs, one early and then one, both of them kind of be midday. Anyway, I'll do 2 videos on Tuesday. So everybody, please, great comments. I saw there were almost 50 comments on yesterday's recap. I love the interaction. And look, while I'm sitting at the airport, I'm going to be reading Comment Corner. Love it. But I have got to get going because I'm not even packed. I'm always the night before packer. And look, my flight, I got to get out my house at 3:30 in the morning. So everybody, I will see you on Monday. Have a great weekend.